Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar today titled Communicating with Your Team During a Crisis, How ExpandIT Helps. So this webinar today is targeted to ExpandIT's partners. So my name is Gary Rodriguez, and I will be presenting the first part of this presentation today. I'm on the marketing and business development team here at ExpandIT. Then in a few minutes, I'll be handing things over to John McDonald, who is our managing director, and he will present the remainder of today's webinar. Just as a note, this session will be recorded, so you will be able to access it at any time later. The recording will also be emailed to you. If you have any questions, you can ask using the Ring Central Q&A box, and we have some time allocated at the end to answer questions. So I'm just going to go through the outline of what we will be discussing in today's webinar. Overall, the webinar will take less than 30 minutes. So we're going to start off with why communication is important. Then I will give you a brief background on what ExpandIT does. Then we will talk about a typical customer example. We'll summarize the main pain points that customers face. Then I will hand it over to John, who will show the product and some real customer examples. Then we will talk about some partner-specific items around how to find customers that are a fit, and then we will go into our Q&A portion. So now, why is communication important? For typical customers that we are speaking with, they are sending their staff out into the field to handle service and installation jobs. About 95% of a staff member's time is spent outside of the office. Service and installation companies have many touch points that occur between customers and employees throughout the course of the business. And recent events have highlighted the critical need to ensure the safety of both customers and employees while still going ahead and conducting business. One of the biggest pains faced by many service and installation companies is inadequate methods of communication. Traditional tools such as pen and paper and disconnected systems require a high level of physical contact between employees and customers. Additionally, employees in the field performing service or installation work do not always have access to email or the ability to check it regularly. These companies need a system to ensure proper documentation and information is collected and recorded for safety and legal purposes. Ensuring that there are alternate methods of communication that allow employees to share and receive important information digitally is crucial. I'm going to just go over quickly what ExpandIT does. So ExpandIT builds a mobile service and sales solution that is integrated with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, Nav, Finance and Operations, and AX. And the solution consists of three main components. First is the Service Portal, which allows customers to communicate directly with company staff. The second is the Field Service component, which is meant for field workers who are out of the office at customer sites. And the final portion is the Resource Planning board, which allows for planners and dispatchers to assign workers to specific jobs and track where they are at all times. The key three benefits that ExpandIT offers are improves operational efficiencies, it ensures compliance, and it enhances customer experience. And those are the things that we're going to discuss today. So now I'm just going to go through an example of what we are seeing with typical customers that we're speaking with. Currently, for many companies, regional governments are requiring that all service workers need to have COVID testing done prior to going out to job sites. Each worker has to have a test every 48 hours to ensure they're COVID-free, and records of this need to be kept before assigning a worker out to a job site. Before a service worker is sent out, the company needs to validate that the environment is COVID-free. A record of this needs to be kept by the company and shared with the service worker. And if that COVID-free status changes, the company needs to notify all staff or specific staff by message at any time. And they need to keep records of where each staff member has been and when they've been there. When arriving at a customer's location. Often a service worker would normally ring the bell, greet the customer, walk with the customer to the job site. Now, however, an appointment is usually set by phone or online. Notes are given to the service worker on how to enter, and in most cases, the worker goes directly to the job site. Head office also sends periodic reminders to all workers to do things like wear a mask or gloves, and staff often need to follow checklists at the start and end of a job to ensure the protocols have been followed and that a worker has not been in contact with an infected person. So, as you can see, there are 6 main pain points that companies are facing. The first is communication with their team. So this consists of either communicating one-on-one to a worker who's out in the field, or one-to-many to either a specific group of workers or all workers who are out in the field. Second is communication with the customer. Often updates need to be sent directly to a customer. The third is record keeping. So it's important for companies to keep proper records that are tied to each job or employee that are easy to access later. The next is regulatory forms. It's important to fill out these regulatory forms and documents in order to make sure that health and safety requirements as well as other governmental requirements are met. And finally, it's important to ensure the health of all staff as well as all customers are taken care of. So now I'm going to hand things over to John McDonald, who's going to cover some of the product and talk a bit about some of the experiences that our customers have had.
Thank you, Gary. As Gary said earlier, my name is John McDonald, and it's my pleasure to participate. Before I highlight some specific customer cases, I wanted to briefly highlight the standard communication capabilities, or some of the standard capabilities in the ExpandIT mobile solution for service and installation. Messaging, email, and document sharing is standard across the entire ExpandIT mobile platform. For example, in front of you, you see the ExpandIT web-based planning and dispatch board. From here, planners working in the office can send messages or attach pictures and documents to field workers directly from the planning tool that they're working in. I'll also note that this planning tool is fully integrated to Microsoft Dynamics and other ERP solutions. Next slide. Again, from the planning tool, the planner working in the office has the ability to add additional comments that can be shared with the service technician in the field. The planner can also send comments directly to the end customer through the integrated ExpandIT Service Portal. They can also add documents and files for both the field worker and the end customer to see. Next slide. Next, you can see the ExpandIT mobile client that is built specifically for field workers. The ExpandIT HTML mobile client runs online or offline on any mobile device, tablet, or laptop. From the mobile device, the field worker can, again, share messages with the planner back in the office or with the end customer, as this is, again, integrated with the end customer service portal. Like the planner tool, the field technician also has document sharing capabilities. Next slide. Again, from the mobile client, the service technician has the ability to replace paper documents by leveraging our HTML on-site reporting tool. This tool allows the technician to, again, replace paper documents such as worksheets, reports, regulatory and compliance-related forms, and checklists that are typically used on-site by field workers. Next slide. Here you can see an example of the end customer service portal. So from the service portal, the end customer has access to integrated messaging, collaboration, and document sharing. Again, this is integrated seamlessly with the ExpandIT Mobile client and the ExpandIT Planning tool that I showed you before. And I'll also note that it's also integrated back into the Microsoft ERP system. So this is the standard communication capabilities that's available in the ExpandIT Mobile solution. So now I'd like to highlight two customer examples from the past 4 months where ExpandIT was able to help our customers during the global COVID-19 pandemic. Let me begin first by saying that in my role, I get frequent exposure to the business problems that our customers face on a daily basis. Our customers are providers of essential services. And during the COVID-19 outbreak, their workers, their field workers, have continued to provide necessary services. For example, they have continued to install and service the critical equipment that manufacturers, food producers, energy providers, healthcare providers, and many other essential services rely on. What these workers do in the field each and every day has allowed our economy to keep going through this difficult period. Let me provide a couple of very specific examples. The first one is from a customer of ours that does fabrication and installation of upgrades for a large national home builder. The problem was that the customer was challenged in distributing COVID-19 related health and compliance information to their field workers. To protect the safety of their employees and subcontractors, the organization did not want their workers to need to come into the office every day, nor could they really rely on email. Email communication is often unreliable as there's no way to confirm that the workers had actually received and read this critical corporate communications. This is exacerbated as the company, like many service providers, make extensive use of contract field workers, many of whom do not have access to company email and other resources. So the solution was to enable broadcast messaging on the ExpandIT mobile application. And in front of you, you see an example of what was delivered to the mobile app for our customer. Since all field workers, including contractors, are using the ExpandIT mobile application, the flexibility of the ExpandIT mobile platform made it possible to rapidly configure a broadcast message. And this allowed the organization to send critical messages to field workers on a daily basis or as required. The broadcast message was the first thing the workers saw in the morning before they started an installation or a service job, thereby ensuring that the field worker had actually received and read this critical COVID-19 related information. Because we're integrated to Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, the messaging could be specific to departments or services teams, depending on the severity of the COVID-19 situation or the requirements of the state or jurisdiction. The next example I want to provide is from a national provider of interior and exterior architectural restoration services for both commercial offices and retail stores. The problem was that the customer wanted to be able to track potential exposure of their employees to COVID-19 as they were out in the field working. In some jurisdictions and states, this was actually a compliance requirement. Furthermore, the customer wanted to be able to perform contact tracing for each customer job without the need for physical meetings or time-consuming email or phone correspondence. So the solution again was to leverage the ExpandIT mobile platform. And in this specific case, we were able to leverage our reporting capability in the ExpandIT mobile application. This allowed the end customer to configure a field worker questionnaire on the ExpandIT mobile app. The field worker was asked 3 questions related to COVID-19 exposure and to confirm 2 additional statements regarding workplace safety. Furthermore, if the end customer such as a commercial office, inquired about potential exposure, the company would have supporting documentation by specific job. As the company has hundreds of field workers doing multiple service jobs every day, the ExpandIT system also facilitated daily reporting for management that would identify any potential issues based on the worker questionnaire that you see in front of you. Finally, I'll add that the ExpandIT on-site reports in the most recent and current release of our product is 100% configurable by the end customer, requiring no support or configuration or development from our organization. So to conclude, I'm thrilled to participate in this discussion today and to be able to share these two examples of how we've been able to support our customers with a mobile platform that enables their field workers to stay safe and to continue to efficiently provide essential services during this global health crisis. Thank you, Gary.
Great, thank you, John. Okay, so now I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about what you as a partner can look for when you're speaking to your customers and new leads. So essentially there's 4 things that you want to look for. You want to first find customers that are not currently digital. So often these companies are communicating with their staff by pen and paper, and they're keeping records of things like service calls on paper. The next thing you want to look for are customers who have a need to communicate in real time to update staff at once, whether that's one staff member at a time or a whole group of them at once. The next thing is you want to find customers that currently have meetings like in-person huddles to communicate with their staff at the start of every day. These are things that are not necessarily to be done face-to-face and could easily be moved to digital. And then finally, you want to talk to customers that are currently using a solution that is not linked with their ERP. So that means that the information that their workers have while out in the field is not up to date, and information that they're gathering is not recorded and transferred automatically into their ERP system. So again, here are really the 5 main value or selling points that ExpandIT offers. The first is the ability to communicate with a team. As we saw, the planner can send messages directly to one field worker or to many at once. The second is the ability to communicate directly with a customer. As we saw, the service portal allows this. The third thing is digital record keeping. So instead of keeping forms on paper, having these recorded digitally is important for future reference. The next item is ability to fill out regulatory forms easily. So rather than having these on paper, it's important to have these digitally kept in order to meet government regulations and ensure the correct information is gathered at every job site and saved. And of course, you want to ensure the health of your workers and your customers is protected, because that's paramount. So now, what are the next steps? Really, the next thing that you'd want to do when you find a lead that is a potential good fit is talk to them and identify their real key pain points. And once you've done that, that's a good time to schedule a meeting with us. And then we will be able to do a customized product demo for you and your lead to show them the real benefits of using an integrated solution like ExpandIT. So now we have a little bit of time remaining for questions. So I've got a couple of questions that have come in. I think we'll just take 2 of them. So John, maybe this is one that you'd be able to answer. So first question here is, where is checklist information stored? Is that stored in ExpandIT or is it in the ERP?
Thanks. So we're talking about the checklist information that is captured in the ExpandIT on-site reports from the mobile client. And that information is typically stored in the ExpandIT product. However, it can also be sent back to the Microsoft Dynamics ERP solution as well. So both options are available, but the standard approach is for that information to be shared in the ExpandIT business application server.
Okay, thanks, John. And also related to that, is it easy to report on that information?
It is, because the ExpandIT business application server is available both to the customer and to the partner. That data can be accessed by any sort of reporting tool and amalgamated with other data sources for thorough reporting for the end customer.
Okay, great. And then there's a couple other questions here. So I guess there's another one regarding reporting. So is it possible to create different reports, I guess like customized reports?
It is. As I mentioned earlier, one of the benefits of expanded on-site reports are they are 100% configurable by the end customer. That just allows them a lot of flexibility to tailor and create reports that are specific to their customers' requirements. So as a part of our standard product, there is a report designer capability that allows a non-technical resource to create and customize and modify reports as required by their customers. And there's no limit, by the way, to the number of reports that can be created in the expanded solution.
Great. Okay, thank you for answering that, John. So I think that wraps up our time today. So thanks everyone for attending. Here's our contact information. So in case you have any more questions that come up later, maybe even regarding a specific customer or lead, feel free to call us or email us at any time. And also the recording from today's presentation is going to be sent out to you by email. So thanks everyone for attending, and we will see you again next time.